Hello my dear students, welcome to the class once again. Today we are going to start with 4th chapter of business studies, and that is planning. In this lecture we will be covering 3 major areas, that is planning meaning, the definition and the basic concepts, also major features of planning. So let us start. What is planning? As we know that right in the very first chapter, when we have started studying the basic concept of management, the very first function of management which we have read was planning only. The world in the absence of a plan will lead you nowhere. So what is most important? The thing which is most important is to focus the future, where you are at present and where you want it to be in the futures to or in the days to come. Planning is that bridge which takes you from where you are and then where you wish to be. Planning is that one connective function which connects the different time zone, that is past, present and future. How it does so? Under planning, there are certain terms which I have written here on the board which is very important for you. These may be substitute word which we can use in place of planning. When we start anticipating future, when we start forecasting future event, when we start estimating that what may happen in the days to come, it requires some past experiences. Because what we do is, we simply go back and start analyzing that what kind of experiences we have collected from the past event. On the basis of those experiences, we do certain analysis in present, and on the basis of these analysis, we prepare ourselves for future. This activity, planning, is not only important for the business activities, whereas it is equally important for each individual when we start our day. We start our day with a intention, with a kind of plan, with a to-do list. What are we expected to complete by the day end? So planning is one of the most powerful tools to shape your future. Talking the term planning in management, planning is something thinking or deciding in advance. It is purely a mental work, it is purely a logical work of logic, where what are we doing? We are thinking and we are deciding in advance, which means in present, but we are deciding for future. What all do we decide? We decide 4 major aspects. We decide what is to be done, when it is to be done, how it is to be done, and by whom it is to be done. When we say what is to be done, the term what here simply means the objective, the target, the goal which we strive for. Or any organization, whether big or small, whether production unit, manufacturing unit or service unit, whether trading business or any other industrial business, it all in all, when we call it business, when we call it commerce, all in all had to have a target, must have a target. So they all have to decide what is to be done. So when we say what here simply means the goals or the objectives, right? The next major dimension of planning is when. It is said that if you do not do any work in the given period of time, there is no use of the particular work done later. भाई प्यासे को जब प्यास लगी तो पानी नहीं मिला, तो बाद में आप उसको समंदर के किनारे भी ले जाएं, so it's of no use. So it is said that planning has to always accomplish or must be framed in a given time period, otherwise it becomes a completely futile activity. So a time, a deadline is a must. The next very dimension is how it is to be done. When we are saying that yes, we have a goal, we have set a goal, we wanted to achieve to a goal, and we have given ourselves a specific time zone as well. But now it is very important, what are the ways, what are the methods, what are the techniques, how will you reach there? The term how simply tells you the ways of reaching towards your goal. I have decided to go for a vacation. Now it is very important, my destination is planned. And say for example, I wanted to go it in the month of December. So I gave a time period as well. Now how will I go? Whether I'll go by train or I go by car or I go by flight is what I have to decide for the way. What ways, what technique, what method am I going to use to reach up to my target? Similarly, for every business, there are variety of methods. There are strategies, there is policy, we have procedure, we have budget, we have program. The different variety of plans are all together has to be worked upon just to reach to your goal. Next is by whom. We know that the institution without human resource is nothing. We have already discussed the importance of human resource for any business. So it is very important to decide that which skill set, which competency, which knowledge set your organization requires. The kind of work you are doing is required, which specific skill set is very much important. So deciding, thinking about human resource as well, which is manpower planning. We can call it manpower planning. That is also done under the concept of planning or under the purview of planning. So planning is all in all a very giant size activity where you have to work upon multiple dimensions, where you have to think in advance, that you have to set your goal, you have to decide how will you go, you have to set up a time frame, and also you have to decide the skill set and the competencies required to complete the given assignment, because you alone cannot reach to your target. You for sure required a group of individuals who can take you to your targets. Talking about the major features of planning. Planning comprises of 7 major features. The very first feature of planning is a goal-oriented activity. What do you mean by goal-oriented? Just now we have seen the meaning of the word goal. Goal is all about objective, and orientation is taking you towards. So planning is one activity. When you sit down and start doing planning, the very first thing which comes in your mind is what. And the answer for this what is orientation towards your goal. When you sit today and think, from now, 5 years from now, what? Where do I want to be? Where do I want to see myself? This is what I've said. Presently, I'm here where I wanted to see myself 5 years down the line. This process, the bridge which will take you there is planning. So as it is said that we set target under planning. We cannot do planning without a purpose. So it is said that planning is a purposeful activity. It is a purposeful activity. It helps you to shortlist, anticipate. Again, I'm using the same word. It will help you to estimate, to forecast, to anticipate your purpose. What you wanted to do. So this what is very important. Without having a goal, you cannot move towards. आप एक ट्रेन में बैठे और आपको पता नहीं, आपको डेस्टिनेशन नहीं पता है वो ट्रेन कहाँ जाएगी. So it's simply a waste of time. The next very important feature of planning is it is all-pervasive. Now if you see what a layman thinks when he picks up a business studies book, they may think that in the subject business studies, almost all the terms are repeated because these things we have already read when we were discussing the definition of management. But let me tell you guys here that the points may be repeated because planning, organizing, staffing, directing, controlling, all are by and large the part of the subset of the major set called management. But each of them have different or you can say varied explanation. Like when we have said management is pervasive, we have said that it is applicable in all the organization and at every level. But when we say planning is pervasive, here it means that planning is not an exclusive function which is to be performed by exclusively by the top level. No. planning is all pervasive means all the three level, whether being top level, middle level and lower level, all the three level has to plan. How will they plan? They plan, the top level will have must have to prepare a master plan, a broad plan, that how each and every activity, how each and every department, how each and every human resource will move in the organization towards the achievement of objective. Middle level, right after the top level, is responsible for preparing their individual plan, which are derived from, remember I'm using a word, derive, which is derived from the master plan, which means all the other plan. Sometimes in examination there's a question comes that what do you mean by derivative plans or derived plans? So derived plans or derivative plans are those plans which are extracted, which are derived from the master plan, the wholesome plan which is being prepared by top level, right? And lower level, right after the middle level we have lower level, and the responsibility of the lower level is to check the application of those top level or master plan and departmental plans on your day-to-day activity, that whether these plans are applicable in the same way in your day-to-day activities or not. Let us take a very easy example to make this concept understood. CBSE this year has come up with a master plan, and that is revised syllabus for the session 2020-21. For this session, CBSE has, due to this pandemic, CBSE has declared that there is going to be a 30% cut in this syllabus. And the major cut is visible in this chapter because the entire types of plans has been removed from the chapter planning. What I am trying to tell you, that master plan has come from CBSE because it is the top authority, right? Right after this, in your school, now your teachers will start preparing their lesson plans. Or you must say your school must have started preparing their syllabi using the same master plan which is being brought in by CBSE. Also, at lower level, your teachers will start doing their day-to-day planning as per the syllabi provided by middle level, which means the top, middle and lower, all the three levels are incorporated and they are working towards the similar kind of plan. There is no difference. All the three levels is all together working towards the achievement of that one single goal, right? That is target board results 2021. Coming to the next, we say planning is the primary function. When we say something as primary, we are trying to define the primacy of the same. Primacy of planning or planning as a primary function. Why do we call planning as a primary function? Planning is considered to be a primary function because under planning, what we set? We set objective. And as I have said, in the absence of objective, it is just not possible to reach anywhere. So planning sets the base for rest all the other functions. If you just come back here and say that this one specific object that is what is to be done is a part of planning itself. How it is to be done is all about organizing the ways and the methods and finding people and structuring the organization. All that comes under organizing. So how is the answer for organizing? When you talk about by whom, this is an answer for staffing. Just now I gave you an example of manpower planning. That under by whom you are thinking about the competencies and skills of human resource. Under the same by whom, if your staff is not motivated enough, what are you doing? You have to take the directing into consideration. You have to motivate them, communicate them. You are consistently supervising. One level is supervising another, which means each level is supervised by the preceder. So what is happening here? All the other functions are being set up. This is a base, this is the foundation, this is the plinth for rest all the other functions to reach the paramount of your goal. So this makes it a primary function. Coming to the next, that is continuous process. Yes, we have said that, we have read the term continuous process. It's actually a cliche term, which you're going to read in each and every function. That's a continuous process. If you remember, while discussing planning management as a continuous process, what I gave you that management is continuous because management follows a managerial cycle, that is planning, organizing, staffing, directing and controlling. All these 5 functions are in a circle, in a cycle, in a repetitive mode. Similarly, something which never ends is planning, which means planning follows a planning cycle. This is very important for you to remember. Planning follows a planning cycle. And what all comes under planning cycle? Under planning cycle, the very first step is to plan, next is to evaluate, next is to implement or follow. And then again, when you follow up, you again have to plan, you again have to evaluate, and again you have to implement and follow up. So what it is plan, evaluate, implement and follow up. So what you can see, there is a cycle that one plan ends at a specific point of time, and that gives you a base for the another plan. That what improvements is required in the plans to come, in the days to come. Come to the next, that is looking forward, or you can say planning is forward looking. When you say planning is forward looking exercise, what it means? It simply means it looks ahead. Forward means looking ahead. It looks for future. Under planning, what we simply do? We simply focus, we take our whole lot of attention towards the future course of activity, which means planning makes your future a little more easier or little more brighter. It brings your future in light. So we call it a forward looking function. It helps you to do a accurate forecast. That how can you accurate think? जैसे ना, here I can give you a very easy example. जैसे आपने देखा होगा while driving हमारे कार में ना there are headlamps. So these lamps, when you switch it on and when you change their modes from the top to the road and to the different distant level, they help you, they clear your vision that how long, like from at least 1 kilometer, this fog lamp or whatever lamp is available in your car, in your vehicle, that makes your idea clear, like for this much distance, at least things are visible to me. So this is the function of planning. Planning was also doing the same job. Talking about the next, that is, it involved decision making. Right. Here I take an example that how do you want to go? To reach to a specific target, there are different ways, there are different methods, there are different techniques, there are different ways. And you have to pick up the best as per your ability, as per your present situation. You have to evaluate what is the best possible way for my work. So when you have options, when you have choices, definitely here comes a decision. So you have to remember that there is no meaning of the word decision in the absence of choice. When you don't have any choice, you need not to make decision. But when you have choices, जैसे आपने क्लास 10th का रिजल्ट देखा, क्लास 10th के रिजल्ट के बाद आपने अपने आप को इवेलुएट किया दैट व्हाट सूट्स मी, व्हाट आई एस्पायर टू बी. तो आपके पास मल्टीपल डिसिप्लिन है, उसमें से आपने एक डिसीजन लिया. आपने ये सोचा कि विच स्पेसिफिक डिसिप्लिन, विच स्पेसिफिक डोमेन आई वांटेड टू गो. मुझे किस डिसिप्लिन में जाना है, मुझे किस डोमेन में जाना है. सो व्हेन यू स्टार्ट थिंक अबाउट योरसेल्फ, व्हाट हैपेंस? इट बिकम्स वेरी इजी. You are deciding yourself. You are evaluating each and every alternative. You are doing examination. आप examination और evaluation कर रहे हैं हर possible alternative का, which takes you towards your goal. So it is all about taking a decision at a right time. Coming to the last feature, that it is a mental exercise. Yes, sometimes we say that it is thinking in advance. So it is just not lie down on bed and start thinking and it becomes planning. Ma'am, आपने ही तो कहा था thinking is called planning. No. Planning is a mental exercise, which means it requires logical and systematic thinking rather than wishful or guesswork. There's no guesswork required. It requires a complete logical and systematic approach towards your future. You have to systematically, logically, not on the, we have already read about the scientific ways. You have to use scientific ways, facts, to think about the futures to come. Right? So with this, we have discussed the major concept and the definition along with the features of planning.